Well. Welcome to Cyberpunk RPG Chat Plays Pen and Paper. I'm going to be your host, Mike Pondsmith. I'm the guy who killed your Cyberpunk character, and today I'm going to try to kill a few others. So, on today's show, we're going to be playing Black Dog. It's a new Cyberpunk adventure I've written, and we'll be joined by four live players who will meet in a moment. And you, all of you out there, are going to be playing as the fifth player via polls, a new and exciting thing we're going to try today. So, let's meet our players. You guys out there still? Hello? You didn't run away after all. I was worried about that. You heard about my reputation. Okay. Well, first of all, we'd like to introduce Erika Ishii. She's up in the corner, being beautiful as usual in pink. Next.
Oh, thanks, Chuba.
And then Co Carnage. And Co is basically being mysterious right now. Then below that, from Descartes Games, we have Brian. And also from Descartes Games, we have Amelia. And today they're going to be playing the major characters of Laia, Mover, 24/7, and Racer. And again, all of you out there are going to get the chance to be our fifth player. Our fifth player is a tech, and we'll meet a little more about him in a few seconds. But you're going to be playing him via polls, okay? Now, you're probably wondering how we're going to be doing that. Okay, chat. Okay, you're going to be playing alongside our four players today. And throughout the event, I'm going to be reading questions related to your character, this third-party kind of person. And you're going to need to vote in the Control plus Polls extension to determine the fate of your character. So make sure to vote throughout the day. And if you're familiar with how Control Plus works, here's a quick explainer video. Check it out.
To vote in our polls throughout the show, scroll onto the screen to reveal the Control Plus extension. Open up the polling tab, click your answer, and watch the results. Follow selected streamers through Control Plus as well by opening the Channels tab and clicking the follow buttons. And if you are on mobile, make sure your phone is in the vertical position and you can tap open Control Plus right under the video player.
Okay, sounds simple enough. So, if you guys are ready, let's try a test poll just to make sure. You ready? Okay, audience, this is your big chance. Are you ready to play Cyberpunk RPG Chat Plays Pen and Paper? Yes or hell yes? Let's see it. Throw it up there. This is your chance to be participatory. Okay, polls are coming in. We can hear the ticking and the clicking. The excitement is mounting. All right. Do we have a vote yet? We're still waiting for Florida. Wait. Okay. Still adding it up. So you guys all psyched for this? Why don't you tell us a little bit about your characters while we're waiting. Laia or Erika.
Laia is a rising star in the music world. She is a synth player in a band whose name is constantly changing. Her tunes are very anti-corp, and she's still playing smaller venues, but she's climbing through the ranks. She's getting more access. She's also a goddamn mess and has quite the reputation as a party girl. 24/7, I'll tell you.
Yeah. Well, that's the territory of being a rocker. So carry on and remember to do it in the spirit of Jagger, Joplin, all those other people who were great rockers and are probably all dead now. Okay, Co Carnage, you're Mover. Tell us about Mover.
Sure. Mover is a loner. He's a combat-oriented gentleman who's really been out for number one for a very long time. Mover is the kind of guy who sits in the back of the bar nursing a drink, just kind of watching while he waits for his next job to come in. He is definitely looking for something, but it's not something that he talks to people about. He's a very kind of inclusive guy who does have a kind of an honor code of his own, but at the same time, he's at the very top of it.
So Mover is a solo, and for those of you who aren't in the know, a solo is basically a gun for hire. Think of the Old West. And Mover is part of that elite group where you get to be really good or really dead really fast. So 24/7, you're media. Tell us about media, or in this case, your media.
I'd love to, Mike Pondsmith. It's an honor to be here with you today. You all know 24/7 from his near perpetual broadcast called Primary Source, where we will find our way past enemy lines or red velvet ropes to get ourselves inside to find sources that maybe want to avoid the questions that we have for them. With or without their consent, we're happy to broadcast anything and everything to make sure that you, dear viewer, are getting the truth.
Love it to death. And Racer, tell me about you. You're a nomad, aren't you?
Oh yes, my happy place is on the open road. I love the desert, hot air whipping in my face. Night City is always kind of giving me the creeps, to be honest with you, but if I'm gonna go in there, I'm gonna be charging a high premium. My main line is my bearded dragon that I raised from a hatchling. It's constantly living in the folds of my scarf. I love animals because there's hardly any of them out here.
Yeah, you're probably one of the few places where there are animals. Just to kind of give everybody else who's dialing in right now a little bit of background, you are in the world of cyberpunk, and you're in a middle passage, so to speak, of it. At one end is what's known as Cyberpunk 2020, which was the boom time of the cyberpunk era. And on the far side of it is Cyberpunk 2077, which is the rebirth of the big city. In between, there's been a war. It was a really, really big, ugly war, and it ended up with nukes being set off, orbital rock strikes, and for roughly 2-3 years, the skies were red with particulate awfulness, and basically people were just getting by. So the good news is it only took a couple of years for that to kind of wash out, although every so often the clouds shift around a bit and you get what's called a blood rain, which comes out of the sky, and it's this kind of blood red stuff that sticks to you and smells bad. So it's still not all healed. However, people are pretty flexible, and in the end, people of Night City particularly, which is the largest and most kind of important city in this universe, they pulled together. They didn't like each other before. They found they had to like each other now. So they gathered in what was left of their city after somebody set off a pocket nuke in the middle of it, destroying the main headquarters of one of the biggest corporations in the world, Arasaka. And they gathered in different ways. Some of them continued the lifestyle of what they call nomads. Nomads are vast families of traveling people. They move from place to place. It used to be they took jobs, pick some crops, do some construction, whatever, maybe do a little bit of illicit smuggling. But in this world, they're the only people who can get past all the go gangs and all the really bad stuff out there in the open road to get supplies and food and medicine and more weapons into places like Night City. So they're only part of that. Communication is still around, which is where people like 24/7, who is basically an independent, he basically does the news in the same way as we might do blogging, except his audiences are much larger, and the people he's investigating are a lot nastier. So he has to keep moving, but he's able to also dial in to what's called the data web and tell all of you out there what's going on. On the flip side, Laia is basically what's called a rocker boy, and that's not because she's a boy, but that rather many, many years ago, there was an incredibly famous rocker named Rocker Boy Manson. He was the first real, let's say, in-the-face anti-corporate rocker. And he was assassinated, which kind of tells you something about the corporations and how much they loved him. So in honor of that, everybody calls themselves rocker boys now. In a couple dozen years, they may start calling themselves Silverhands in honor of the late, great Johnny Silverhand, who was the major pop star of the 2020s and who mysteriously disappeared somewhere right after the Night City nuke went off. No one knows what happened. They're still trying to find out. And in one of the more interesting things, you guys may be investigating some of that mystery today. Okay? Let's see. Who do we have left to look at? All right. So, Mover, you have a really rough kind of situation because in the past you at least had as a solo some backup from the cops, the lawmen, or whatever. But you are now basically where force meets the street. You may work for a corporation still. You may work for yourself. You have your own code. You will be the person that people come to when something has to happen that involves violence or threat. So in this world, it is a lot more dangerous than, let's say, the 2020s even, in as much as there are no boundaries anymore. There are no cops to say no. There are no corporations strong enough to lock you down. So you're on your own. And that's the way this world is. To give you kind of the large global picture, the world is not post-Holocaust by a long shot, but it is a scarcity world, a scarcity before post-scarcity world. So I'll give you an example. It's not that you can't get a cell phone, it's that you can't get a new cell phone because the factories that made them can't get supplies in from Asia and Africa and the Far East to make new ones. But in cargo containers and stashes and abandoned stores all over the planet, there are up to, 100 million cell phones. Most of them still sitting in their packages. That's the kind of world you work in. You have access to things, but you got to look for it a bit. You can't just go down to the store and pick it up. What you can do is go down to what's called a night market. And the night market is a kind of impromptu store that pops up around shipping containers that have been brought in, stuff that's been smuggled, and organized by what are called fixers. Fixers are the grease that keep things running in Night City. And last but not least, Night City. It's not always dark. In fact, night is after Richard Knight, the guy who originally constructed and founded the city. No, it's just dangerous, neon slick, rains a lot. It's on the California coast. Violent. There are very, very strange gangs running amok, particularly at night. There are still major corporations fighting it out to see who gets control. You can go from the highest and most beautiful skyscrapers to the lowest living in a packing crate. In fact, there are people to whom living in a dumpster is luxury. That's your world. What you are in it depends on how much nerve you have, how much guts you have, and last but not least, how much style you have, because whatever you do on the street, you got to look good doing it. Welcome to my world. We're going to go climb into that in a few seconds. And I think what I'm also going to do is I'm going to fill all you in on a couple interesting things that you'll want to know. Okay? Each one of you has a piece of a mystery. Okay? Each one of you got part of a thread and you've been trying to follow it ever since. Okay? So, Racer, your thread is pretty simple. You were basically in Night City looking for jobs, trying to find things to do. And you got a rather cryptic message from your family back in Florida, what's left of Florida, because it's mostly flooded. And you haven't seen them in quite a while. They look like they might be, from the message, in trouble and need your help. So you have what's called a combi, which is a largish truck-like thing, armored. You have a mini gun on top of it that you can use to hold off the road gangs and all that sort of thing. It has bunk room, it has kitchen, it has basically all the stuff you would need. So think of it like an RV on steroids, armored like a tank with a gun. And this was given.
It's the coolest car. It's the coolest car.
It is very, very cool. You may decide at this point if you paint it or what it looks like. Okay. And I assume since you probably have your bearded dragon around, you probably have a big aquarium stuck somewhere. So yeah. He's in a bulletproof aquarium looking around going, hey, where are we going today? Okay. So you want to get home. You need to get home. You need to find out what went down, or find somebody who's got a line back to home. Okay. Mover, your problem is much more to home. You have been using the same generic kinds of weapons all along the way. And that's because, places where you can get really good weapons, they're out of business. They can't get materials. The factories got bombed during the war. So you have been using the typical street hardware, which is run off on what's called an AutoFac, a 3D super printer. Okay? They work, but they're not really good. And one of the things you've been looking for is what's called a branded gun, a gun that's made by somebody who really knows how to make a weapon. And you think you have a line on getting a good branded weapon, because the one you've got sucks. And when your weapons suck on the street, you don't live very long. So you're looking for some answers. There's a legendary gun you've heard of, done by a guy named Ilan Malorian. Aaron Malor. The weapon is a Malorian. There were many made, but they were all handmade, kind of like the classic buntline special that Wyatt Earp used to carry. You would love to get one of these. You don't know where. They were really rare, but that would be the dream weapon. Okay? So.
You just gave me a loot quest. I can work with this.
You have a loot quest. Go find that loot. Okay? And then 24/7, you're in media, and you have an inside track on something. You think that the story that's been told about the Night City nuke, the nuke that went off at the end of the war, blew out the center of the Arasaka building, leveled everything around and so forth, that the story the government has been giving you isn't true. They say that Arasaka detonated an area denial nuke to keep Militech, their opposition, from getting to their headquarters. But you've been talking around, and you've also been talking to a fellow media by name of Trace Santiago, and his dad used to run with people like Johnny Silverhand and so forth. And Trace says, I'm tied down now, but I've got a couple leads. Let's find out what really happened there. Who set the bomb off? Who brought it in? What's the story? So you are kind of doing your quest in the same way as, classic Who Killed JFK, what really went down in, September 11th, you name it. It's a big quest, and you want the answers. And Trace is giving you a few to follow up on. Okay?
We're going to get to the bottom of it, Mike.
Let's go find out. Okay. So, and finally, La Yaya, you have a particularly aggravating thing happening here. A while back at a night market, you got a chip. It was a music chip. You jacked it in, and you recognized through all the scratchiness and so forth that it was the voice of Johnny Silverhand, the legendary pop singer. Johnny was a real rebel. He led a lot of major incidents going up against the man, and he disappeared mysteriously. And you've only got a little bit of this song. It's kind of torn up. You know the title is Black Dog only because the name has been scrawled on the top of the chip, along with the thumb that looks like a blood stain. And you think it probably was recorded black market, but while you can get bits and pieces, you can't get past like the first 4 lines. You really want to know this. And so, it's been bugging you. You've been playing it. And 24/7 is your housemate, your roommate, and your, rather small con app. And you've been driving him crazy because, he's trying to get information on the story and a whole bit like that. And you keep playing the same 4 chords. And it's not Stairway to Heaven. So you're banging away, and eventually 24, you get fed up with it. Information nets and things like that are out there. So you say, look, why don't you take this and put it out on the data web? Why don't we find if the data pool has information? Maybe somebody has more of this song. Maybe somebody else was at this concert or whatever was going, this recording session. So you put it out, and about a day passes, and you get a ping on your agent. Your agent is basically, think a cell phone that's crossed with an AI supercomputer. It can order you new clothes. It will keep track of your, more than appointments. It will run your life if you need to. So you can get down to important things like shooting at people and stealing stuff or getting to a gig. And your agent gets a ping, and it's from a woman named Samantha Stevens, which immediately makes you think Samantha Stevens, okay? And she says in this kind of quiet contralto, I think I have an answer about your song. I might even have a little more of it, but I need to talk to you and see if you can help me in turn. So she cuts off. You notice that she's a fully chrome woman, which is not that unusual. She is what's called a full body conversion. So there's a human brain in there, plus other, human bits. But people who do full body stuff generally have very dangerous jobs, and it's better to be fully metal so that you don't get your skin ripped off. Now, Torch. Torch is the NPC that the rest of you guys are going to get to come in on in chat and polls. Okay? Torch. All of you out there who are Torch, wake up now. Torch has an interesting thing himself, a little mystery. About a year ago, Torch, at a midnight market, picked up 2 objects. He picked up a data chip that had some numbers on it and a code, and he picked up a flat black box with 4 buttons on it, which he didn't recognize. He didn't want to push the buttons yet. He didn't know. Here's the control, but he doesn't know what it's a controller for. So, to the party out there, all of you playing Torch, do you want to investigate the box first, or do you want to investigate the number string on the chip? Box or chip? Which do you want to go after first? So, get ready. Remember, we've shown you how to vote. Tell me what Torch is doing next. And while we're doing that, I'll tell you a bit about Torch. Torch is one of those guys who just can't resist taking things apart. And he likes things much better than he likes people. But he's also pretty easygoing. He's the guy who will buy the pizza when you're all getting together. But on the other hand, he may get sidetracked taking apart the microwave that you're heating the pizza in. So the pizza never gets heated. So he's that kind of guy. You guys all depend on Torch to keep your stuff running. Your synth has been fixed. Mover's had his guns, which are, sort of fixed 24/7. You actually have a small drone 24/7. And during the game, I'll tell you a little bit more about it. But right now, think of it like, the classic little drones that you can buy now. It folds up into a package the size of a pack of cigarettes. And it has about a mile range, and it can send stuff back to your left eye. Okay? So, what do you guys want to investigate? Let's get this in motion. The box or the chip? All right, people? Let's do it. So, anybody else in the live group have any questions they want to ask me right now? As long as we're tallying things up and finding what Torch is up to. Anybody got any things they want to know about their character? Anything that they want to know about the world? Hey, this is the best chance you're going to have to find from me. I'm in a good mood.
Is it fair to assume that all of our stuff, our gear that we have is equipped, or do we have to take an action to equip anything besides unholstering the gun?
You will have to equip things if you are seriously changing something. For example, if I have my automatic, rifle, I need to take it down and put my pistol away or drop it at least. Your drone is another one of those. You have to open it up and say go, and it will go out there. Racer, you do not have to equip your lizard. It kind of does its own thing. So, you just kind of like, lizard, it usually likes to sit on your shoulder because you're warm.
Yeah, right here.
Okay. Sit, stay, good lizard. Actually, in another game that I'm in right now, I have a pet Florida alligator or Florida crocodile. It's great. It's one of those that comes when you call like a dog. So, I feel for you. I would love to get one, but, Seattle's not the place to have your own crocodile. Okay. Anybody else got any questions? Aha! People want to investigate the chip. Okay, so we're going to try something here. We're going to have you guys try to make what's called a difficulty roll, okay? And just to sum it up for everybody out there, here's how the system works. It's dumb simple. You have a stat, okay? And if we can get production to throw up just somebody's random character sheet, there's Torch. Okay, so Torch, you have these numbers, okay? You have your int, how smart you are. You have your reflex, which is your hand-eye coordination, shooting guns and that sort of thing. You have a dexterity, getting out of the way, big physical stuff, okay? You have your tech. You notice that Torch is pretty good at tech, okay? From 1 to 10, 8 is pretty good. You have cool. I use cool quite a bit because it tells me whether or not you're aware and it affects other stats. So sometimes I'll go, okay, make a cool roll. You failed the cool roll. You're kind of freaked out right now and you're having problems concentrating. Okay. Yeah. Will, how well you can hold things together. Move, obviously how far you can go, and hits, or how long you survive when they are punching holes in you. Okay? So what you're going to do is you take a stat, you take a related skill, you put them together, and then you roll a d10. This is a d10. You roll that, you add all three of them together, and you see if you can meet or beat the target number. So, for example, we're seeing that right now. You will only roll d10s for most things. When you decide you're going to hurt somebody and you do damage, you'll roll d6s. Okay? That's a d6. It has 6 sides. It's regular dice. I have my own special d6s, which are kind of fun because they look like bullets. But what do you say? So, Torch, you are going to be en masse trying to figure out how difficult it is to take this thing apart, okay? And you figure what it is going to be probably an everyday task, which means you're going to need to beat a 13. So remember, right now it's a int task because you're working something out. So it's 8 right now. And you're going to roll based on that, I think. What do you think, Cabbage?
I think it's basic tech.
Okay, you think it's basic tech?
Yeah.
Okay, the Cabbage has told me that is basic tech. Okay, which will come then under.
Please explain. Please, real quick, explain what a cabbage is to people, because we've been calling
Okay. At Telsorian, we have had for years various company slangs. I have to put my glasses on. I'm now reading long tables. We have had slang for years. And the Cabbage is somebody who helps the GM by reading other rules and taking notes and keeping track of some of the NPCs so that the GM can concentrate on doing the best game they can. They don't have to sit down and go, page 52, what is that? Okay. So my Cabbage over here is my very capable offspring and son, Cody, who is a designer in his own right. And he informs me that we're going to be looking at Torch, and Torch is doing a tech thing. So he has an 8, okay, and he's using basic tech, which is a 10. So he has a base 18. So, yes. Now, here's the thing. Torch actually should automatically be able to do this. But if he rolls a 1, he fumbled it. He messed it up. And he'll roll again to find out how badly. If he rolls a 10, he did really good. And we'll roll another 10 to find out how cool he is. Okay? So, that means out there in audience land, we're going to have them roll dice for you because you're all going to be rolling dice. It's going to be difficult to count it all up. So, let's see you roll a D10. You got a 5. Okay, so you did not fumble. So after a bit of looking it over, you realize that is an activation key. It is a number that needs to be punched in somewhere or transmitted to unlock something. And the string is really, really long. And you suspect that because the string is so long, that it must be something fairly important or critical. There's a lot of code stuff buried in there. And you're thinking, well, I need to go find somebody who knows something about code strings. And while you're doing that, you get a call in. It's 24/7. And 24/7. Why don't you tell Torch what? Oh, my Cabbage is. Oh, Lord, now I started something. Okay. So, 24/7. Why don't you tell Torch, or the torches out there, the many torches, tell them what you're following up.
So, of course, everybody who's tuning in, we've got a situation of this extended string of keys, and I'm going to go ahead and transmit this over to you and see if there's anything identifiable within it. We're trying to open up a unmarked black box. There are some markings on the box. I'm sorry, some keys on the box, but no markings that we can discern. And if you have any information regarding this, go ahead and upload it to the data web and send it over to us at primary source. You know the way, and we do appreciate your input.
Okay, so you're putting this out in the data pool, and the data pool basically is this enormous, think of it kind of like the internet of this time, and you're hoping you're going to get something following up on this. Okay, big, long string of numbers. You don't get a whole lot. A couple people come back and go, it's a security code of some sort. Somebody does come back and tell you, more information. But that information is they think it's an old Japanese code, but they're not sure. Okay. if it's from the war period, the major, two combatants were an American group of security people and a Japanese group of security people. So it might be one of the two sides. But there were people in the war all over the planet. So there's no guarantee of any of this. You also should probably tell the rest of your crew that you got something back on Laiea's song fragment, and that you have a meeting.
That's right, Laia. We've got a ping on your song fragment. I don't know. And also, if you can look over this, I know you're familiar with Japanese numbers in particular.
No, let's take a look.
Does any of this look familiar to you? I mean, we have a call that we can transmit through. Are you good looking at these numbers, or do you want me to send over that song fragment? I know that's important to you.
Send it all my way. Let me just kind of sort through my things.
Torch says, well, we're not going to find much sitting around here. Why don't we go do your meeting? Maybe the person we're talking to has some answers.
All right. I don't know. I think we're going to need some muscle here. They bring the gang with us?
If we're going in person, we better bring some backup.
Yeah.
Right.
Anybody know what Mover's doing? Mover.
Probably drinking.
Probably acting all mysterious in the back of some bar somewhere.
Well, yeah. Well, hang on. I'll calm him. So your agent beeps. Mover, you got Torch. And Torch leans over close to his phone and says, hey, big guy, we might have some action today, and, we could really use you. Besides which, we might have a chance to try my new flamethrower. I'm really looking forward to that. You good?
You know my rates. I'll be there in a few.
All right, I'll stand you the smash. Tell you what, why don't we meet at the usual place in the corner by the Forlorn Hope? We'll go out from there. Okay, guys?
Sounds
That
good.
works for us.
Okay, so the chat windows go down. Anybody want to do anything before you go into the location that you have just gotten data for? You know this much. It's in what's called the hot zone. Okay, so in the middle of Night City is a place where they set off a pocket nuke about 15 years ago. It's not really super hot, but it's still hot, and you wouldn't want to stay there if you plan to have children. But it's the place where the worst of the worst hang out because nobody else wants to be there. So, yeah, you kind of get a picture of it from this. They blew up the entire center of the city, all the half-burned out skyscrapers and melted stuff. There's still roads. You can get past the rubble. And like I said, the worst of the worst of Night City, and that's saying something, they live in a hot zone. And the place you're going to is like a mile from ground zero of the hot zone. So it's pretty darn close. So, you guys ready?
I grab my trusty lead cup and let's move out.
Okay.
All right, I race around the corner. You hear the tires just screeching against the pavement. I whip up in my wick. The rust on the outside just looks so beautiful. I love the way it looks. I slam the door open. Get in, suckers.
Okay. You guys have, Tommy, you have big roll-up doors on both sides. If you're nice to Torch, he might mount a machine gun there one day. He's been promising. He hasn't got around to it yet. But he does climb in. He says, I got a flamethrower now. He's kind of waving this bunch of kind of patched together tubes and a nozzle and some kind of tank maybe next to it, air tank. He says, of course, it needs some work, but it's looking pretty good. And he climbs in. Yeah, maybe he'll
Let's test that sucker out.
Yeah, well, let's not test it out right now inside your vehicle. That would be bad.
Does that
Going
have
to chat,
safety on
I mean,
it?
Like,
Torch.
like holds out a cigarette and stuff. Come on, man.
Okay.
Light him up.
Light them up. Okay. Yeah. If anyone doesn't want to step in here to stop this stupidity,
I'm gonna have to step in there, Torch. I'm wearing a lot of hairspray right now, and I could go up like a candle.
not time
I
to
think
have
a step back,
next moment.
away from the situation.
All right.
Okay.
We'll wait
he makes
until
sure
we're
that
outside.
outside of your combi. He makes sure it's pointed away from the inside of the combi, because well, that's your home. You really don't want to have it burned. And this crazy rocker boy is like leaning over, and she's got her cigarette out, and he goes, "Okay, let's see. Well, this is a reflex thing, okay? So
no.
it's not a thing you do really well. And so what's going to happen is if he messes up and doesn't get your cigarette, then you get to try to dodge out of the way of a gout of flame. He's going to try to aim a flamethrower. This is going to be exciting. What do we have in the way of skills that Torch can bring to bear on this subject?
We're about to witness the fastest
He has a
death in the
base-
Cyberpunk
he has a-
RPG.
He has a base 5, okay? To not hit you with a flamethrower is a 15. This is not good. Are you sure you want to do this?
Oh man, and after Torch explains, like, look, I'm not good with this thing. There's a big radius of
Torch
fire.
don't do guns. Torch, he's got basically,
Fine.
like my reflexes. Am I good enough? And if it was a gun, that would be one thing. But this is a flamethrower. It kind of comes out a cone.
All
It's
right,
like
all
a
right,
soap
fine,
on
fine,
drugs.
fine.
Okay, so and Torch doesn't aim at you. He says, "Well, what the heck?" And he touches it off, and there's a gout of flame that goes out about 15 feet and engulfs a couple trash cans. And basically, you realize, this thing is thoroughly unlightable, uncontrollable. It's just, hey, let me throw flaming napalm down the line and light it off. And he says,
So, like, exactly where her hand would have been is just, like,
you
consumed
would have
by a
been.
fireball. And she's like, man, I guess you're right, huh?
Yeah, he says,
You're right,
I'm
you're
working
right.
on getting a sight on it or something. But, no one knows how to train me in how to use a flamethrower. Mover. Yeah, one of these days, Mover, you got to show me how to use a flamethrower. You have never seen a flamethrower, Mover. No one's that stupid in your business.
Meanwhile, I'm just shaking my head and looking at him and saying, that is the last thing you need, chat. I mean, Torch.
Yeah, okay. Well, Torch shrugs, shags into the back of your combi and says, so let's go.
Yeah. On second thought, maybe you can just hang on the back and hold the flamethrower out there. I don't want that inside. I don't trust you.
Says wimp. And he sticks the nozzle out of one of the combi slatted windows. Okay, so you are now moving into the hot zone, okay? The combi has big, thick, almost indestructible tires. So you're not worried about that, but there's rubble all over the streets. And it's eerie. There's no street lights. It's unlike the picture here. It's actually right around midnight or so. So it's dark. The lights that are there flicker and glow. And when they do go out at all, you notice that a lot of the twisted, melted girders glow with a somewhat unearthly color, kind of a lightish, not quite perceptible blue. You can hear the electronics of anything you guys are carrying, particularly things that have speakers like a 24/7's commo systems for reporting into his audience, hiss, disturbing, and have this, sine wave-like sound. Things run across the wreckage in the road that you think are rats, but they're really big. And you thought you saw one of them stop in the lights for a moment. You thought you saw two tails, but not sure because it was gone like a flash. All you remember was it was big. It was somewhat naked with patches of fur, and it seemed to be mostly teeth in the front end. You have no idea.
Oh, yes.
It could be mutant. It could be a bio-experiment. It was a biotechnical lab out here. There's all kinds of things to be done. The thing that worries you the most is you see down various side roads, shadows moving that are human-like shadows. You see the reds and blues and greens of cyber optics, some of them multiple, all over their heads, watching. And sometimes in the shadows, you'll see 4 or 5 pairs or multi-pairs of eyes. And they'll just light up, be staring at you. Then they'll just go out. All you really hear is the scratching of electronics picking up static from the still hot areas that you're going through, the glow that lights things, and the occasional flicker of a street lamp or phosphorescent that's still going. There's a car, sort of flattened, that's blocking your way, and it has a turret thing that keeps popping up, kind of like R2-D2. It pops up and it whirls around, and Racer, this is going to be kind of a simple, everyday perception task, okay? So let's take a look at what you've got as a base, okay?
All right,
so
well,
your total base is 11, okay?
mhm.
And this is a bit, well, I'm going to say it's going to be about a 14 for you to remember what the heck is going on, okay? So that means you're going to roll D10 and add it to 11. So we're going to roll a D10. Well, digitally roll a D10.
Ooh.
Oh, no.
Well,
What?
14.
Okay, you got a 3 and 11, so you just made it. Okay, so Racer, you realize that what that is a old school automobile alarm defense system. And some, really nice cars had them, and that circular kind of round head thing, that reminds you of R2-D2, has actually got a fairly large 50 caliber machine gun in it, and it's looking for a target. You're the biggest thing moving right now. Let's see if you can drive past it and not wake it up. All right, so I'm going to call this a difficult task. Okay, so you have, you're a nomad, so you have a base 17. So this is a difficult to professional. I'm going to say, yeah, you need to get at least an 18 on this. So you only have to roll a little higher than a 1. Don't screw up. So make a D10 roll. Okay. Keep your fingers crossed. 8. Okay. You sneak by it pretty easily, and it whirs, but you're just far enough away so it can't, target you. You go, okay. I made it. Thank God. All right. Meanwhile, everybody, I want you to roll a D10. We're going to do a little perception check here. Okay. So my cabbage is going to work out your base for you. Okay. Lalaya's got an 8 base. Okay. And we'll see when you add a die roll to that. Mover's got a 12. Okay, Racer's got an 11. Torch has got a 10. 13. Okay. So 7, you got the numbers down on that. So Leia should be with a 7. She should be okay. Okay. Mover should be okay with an 8. He's looking good. Okay. 24/7. Yeah, there we go. We got an 8. Yep, you're good. And Racer's got a 9. Okay. So yes, you do see.
Nice roll.
And you do see, way back beyond your taillights, hundreds of red glowing eyes.
Fuck.
Yeah. And they're moving, and you hear whistles, like, you hear occasionally things clattering. You hear the sounds of like dumpsters being opened, like someone's coming out of them. Lots of fun. Okay. Racer. You want to try to floor it or what? You know you're about 6 or 7 blocks away from where you need to be. So you probably
Of course, yeah. Fast and furious
Okay.
always. I
all right,
slam
Racer,
down.
driving check here, okay? 17, okay. So this is going to be interesting. Okay, so you got to beat a 21. So let's see what your die roll is. Your base is 17. So let's see what the dice say. Roll a d10. Okay, 4. Doesn't do it.
No!
Yes, okay. So she's just under it. You basically are getting to the streets, and you bounce off a dead Volkswagen that's kind of on its back like a turtle, and it's spinning around, and you've just gotten slowed down as you realize that running behind you are a lot of glowing eye shapes from basically the hot zone running after you. Okay. Torch says, I got bad news for you. There's a big ass gate up ahead.
Gate?
Gate, yeah. It's to a parking garage. It's where we're supposed to be. I checked it on my agent.
Can we just ram through it, or do you got remote access?
Not sure about that. Okay. So, out there in audience land, you're going to make a decision for Torch. Is Torch going to run over and try to get the gate open? Or is he going to check for security before he tries to get the gate open? So, choice 1, just open the gate. You got the tools, got big cutters and all that. Or 2, check for security first. So, let's see the audience. Meanwhile, you guys hear scraping. You hear kind of like a crowd noise behind you. And it's not looking good. And you, Racer, are fighting to get your combi untangled from this dead Volkswagen. So he's meanwhile run ahead. It's only like a half a block. So he's run ahead, and Torch is doing something. Okay. You see him, he's hunkered down by this big gate. And above you is this parking garage that goes down. Kind of the classic in-city parking garage. So, let's see what the chat thinks about this. You're going to try to open the gate? You're going to check for security first?
Come on, Torch, let's put some hustle on it. We're being pursued pretty hot, friend.
Yeah, they're coming for you. Somewhere in the middle of that, you remember an article you did 24/7 about cannibalism in the hot zones, and you're trying really hard to not remember that now.
Oh, God. Do you guys know that human flesh actually disintegrates at a much more rapid rate exactly where we are? This is not a place to be looking at our our durability.
Yeah. Okay, and we're going to have the cabbage at this point kind of tell what the order is going to be for what you guys are going to be doing next after Torch makes his decision. Because it may be serious, like who pulls out guns and who runs screaming for their mother and who says, I've always wanted to be a... Okay, he's going to check for security. So Torch is hunkered down there, and Torch has got to essentially do a security check. Okay, so Cabbage says that the base for Torch... Okay.
Base for Torch is going to be 12.
It's going to be 12. So his base is 12. So Torch, roll me a d10 and see what your total is.
Come on, Torch buddy.
5. Okay, so 17. Yes, that's a professional level task. Torch says, hey guys, I got this. And you see, before the gate opens, you see a web of laser beams shooting out of areas around the fence, down the alleyways, and down the street over your heads. And he says, yeah, I found the security net. This is gonna be cool. Okay, and we're going to be looking at initiative. Yeah, let's check initiative here. So what we're going to have you guys do, just to make our lives easier, we're going to have you each roll 1d10. So everybody rolls 1d10. We'll take it from whoever, the order highest to lowest. Yeah, I'm cheating. Okay, so we need 1d10 rolls for everybody.
The suspense is palpable, Mike.
Okay, then.
Guess I'm going first.
Cooking. Okay. Everybody else, let's see where you are. 2,
Over.
8. Okay. 8. Mover, you were asleep at the wheel.
I'm still a little.
You're gonna die.
I'm sorry.
Actually, right now, what you're realizing is your gun is jammed. You have a lot of problems to deal with. Laia is basically going, okay. What do you want to do, Laia? Jump out, van, run, scream as the lasers track over you?
So the lasers are the lasers moving? Like, are we?
Yeah, they're
in
scanning.
danger here?
They're like scanning, like they're looking for things.
All right. Well, and the crowd's still coming?
Oh yeah.
Anyway, I can...
They're moving fast?
Man, is there any way I can talk my way out of this? Like address the crowd?
Yeah, we had somebody once did this and they stood up against them and said, hi, is anybody here a fan? And actually there were some fans in there, but the lasers don't care. So, more or less, are you getting undercover or are you standing there and taking it like a badass?
Oh, I'll dodge the lasers.
Okay. All right then. Racer, you
trying to make my way.
Sorry.
Is there also kind of scanning to see if there's a way to turn them off or bypass?
That's what Torch appears to be dealing with right now. And remember, his last words were, "I got this," which is usually in any game is a bad thing. Racer, do you want to? You're untangled now from the Volkswagen. Do you want to move forward? Do you want to move back? Okay, so how you want to do this?
All right, I'm gonna reverse towards all of the red eyes coming our way, and then I'm gonna climb up to the top of my car so that I can equip the gun.
Actually, you can't do that. You've got to drive right now.
All right.
You would have to have the PO.
Then I'm gonna reverse and I'm gonna try and run over as many of these red eyes creatures as possible.
She is. Okay, then. So you're basically moving back to them, and Let's see. 24/7.
Yes, sir. I think it's time to dispatch this drone and see if we can get an alternate route around this this situation.
Okay.
See if there's any blind spots to the lasers from above.
Throw the drone up in the air. It arrows out of the window and goes up high. And 24/7, what you see in your optic is a bunch of machine guns that are popping up and following the lasers.
Team, we got.
And they're aiming back towards the mob that's now rushing towards you.
All right, these machine guns are aiming behind us, guys. If we can get ahead of this, we might be able to, time it right that the machine gun fire doesn't fall on us. If we can time it right.
Okay, so what's the party want to do is we know Mover's going, God dang gun, damn it. But what's the party vote? Are you guys gonna gun it? Gonna roll back over them? What do you want to do?
My instinct is to roll back over them so that we don't get circled in. So I want to just roll over as many of these red-eyed people as possible.
Okay.
Yeah, hey, Mover, maybe you drop that piece of shit you brought on this mission and man that flamethrower in the back of this thing?
Well, that's what I was going to say, is as long as it's not on torch. But are those lasers right now between the car and the guys? Like, maybe we should hang for a second, prepare, kind of dig in and see if those lasers are going to do anything when they hit those guys.
They've gone right over top of you.
So we may want to dig in for a second and see if those lasers cross over those dudes and see if anything happens. Torch may have found something on that door that could help us out.
All right, I slam on the brakes.
Torch says, okay, guys, check this out. And above, from areas all around in the wreckage, basically 50 cals start going off and just mowing these guys down. There's screaming, there's blood, there's, ugly going on. If you had backed up a little further, you would have been in the middle of where the rocket launcher hits. But instead, the rocket launcher hits the street. Doggone it.
Wow, look at that.
I could have gotten rid of the whole party, So
the footage is beautiful.
Breaks just behind you, like feet behind. And meanwhile, Torch says, hey, I got the gate too. And he's like waving a chain.
All right, change gear, zoom forward.
You're
glad we brought that guy with us.
Okay. Torch basically, it seems kind of silly. He locks the gate behind him and runs over to the van. He says, cool. I figured it out. They've got a security system here. Your instructions.
Meanwhile, I look back at the carnage and I'm like, really? Oh.
You don't say.
You don't say.
Okay, that's good. All right. So you start down into the parking garage and you go down a few levels, and then you realize that as you get to one section, it's sort of like a door, fairly heavy door in the middle, crossing the garage. Like somebody put up a big honking wall and then put a security door, big, thick vault door in front of it. You can't see over it because it goes floor to ceiling from the garage. There is a parking space nearby. There are a whole series of cars that appear to be old style, really old style ground cars. And there is incongruously in front of the big heavy duty vault like door is a rather homely, got like little flowers on it, welcome mat.
Aww.
What do you
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Okay.
Let's park Wick and get on out and, knock and see if anyone's home.
Okay. So we're going to take a break right now, and we're going to be taking that quick break and basically we'll come back in 40 minutes and find out what the heck is going on. Okay? But the door is about to open, so we'll see in about 40 minutes. Sound good?
Sweet. Yeah.
Sounds good.
I think we're just taking a couple minutes.
Okay. So everybody, once again, I'm Mike Pondsmith, and I'm blowing everybody up right now. The party has just found themselves in a deserted parking garage that appears to have been changed into somebody's home. As we rejoin everyone, they are standing in front of an enormous vault-like door, and incongruously in front of them is a flowered welcome mat. Who wants to go first on a welcome mat?
Well, I was gonna say, can I pick up a nearby rock and toss it on top of the mat and just kind of see what happens?
Yeah, there's a bit of stuff around there. Yeah, you find a couple spark plugs or something, and you toss it. The mat does not blow up. It just remains being a welcome mat.
Cool. I step onto the mat, wipe my feet, and knock on the door.
And a voice says, "Hang on a minute." And the door irises open. You all realize that you probably could not open that door. It looks like it weighs a ridiculous amount. It's like a vault door. And you see a woman standing in front of you, and she says, "Come on in, I just made coffee." Well, it's not real coffee. I'm not that wealthy. And she laughs. She is almost 7 feet tall. She is entirely silver from head to toe. Built kind of like an Amazon in that she's well muscled for a metal body. And she, incongruously enough, is wearing a comfortable pair of, you think, leggings and a tank top, which she doesn't really need because she doesn't actually have to feel cold or anything else. But she says, "You'll forgive me, I didn't get dressed." You realize that in person, her voice has a slight metallic edge. She's using a voder of some sort. And she says, "Come on in, I'm Sam."
Great. Sam, thanks so much for meeting with us.
She says, "My pleasure. You guys are the people who answered my call. Come on in." And she says, "I hope you didn't have any problem with the rat gang. They're kind of a nuisance. That's why I put the guns and the lasers in. For a while there, they didn't bother me at all, but I got tired of having to go out and ripping a couple of them in half before they got the message."
Yeah, no worries. It was great.
Super effective.
Security, super important.
Yeah, home security. when you're tired of ripping apart the guys who try to invade your home, yes. So you come in.
Tell me.
This part of the parking garage, it still has a parking garage structure, but the walls have been painted in kind of a pleasant blue, and there's carpets all over the floor, and there's a really comfy looking leather overstuffed sofa, looks a little tatty, and some armchairs, and a nice comfortable table that obviously could see a few people. And incongruously, there is a Porsche sitting over in one corner of the parking garage. Well, it is a parking garage. And it's immaculate. And that's the only thing that really seems out of place there. And she laughs and she says, yes, it's his.
I immediately go over and I just start looking at every inch of it.
Yeah, you guys are looking at Johnny Silverhand's Porsche.
Yeah, like over there just like flipping out and just like geeking out over it.
Do you mind if I take a couple of photos?
I prefer you didn't, because then I'll end up having to actually tear apart a lot more people. And some of them I might even like.
Of course.
Yeah,
I completely understand.
As you walk around, you walk around and you realize that there's like almost a shrine to Johnny Silverhand all around the walls. There's a lot of hollow pictures of him, in performance and stuff like that. And it dawns on you, this woman is a Johnny Silverhand fangirl. Okay.
Wow.
And yep, over in the corner, the other side of, where she's got the comfortable, couch and everything like that, TV, she's got this. It's nice. So,
Racer, look, the body
when
work
you
on
go
this.
around, like I said, you can see sort of in this picture some of the images of Johnny in the background, and other stuff. You also see something else. You see on one wall hanging there, there is cybernetic built-up firefighter armor. And you notice that it's kind of the heavier stuff that, only somebody who has a full body. Full bodies are like Herculean in terms of strength. And it's pretty obvious from the scarring and, kind of use, some burn marks that, at some point or other, Samantha wore this armor and used it. So I'm going to throw it out to everybody. I want you to all roll 1d10. And we'll kick off who's actually talking. So I'll need 110 for Leia, for Mover, for 24/7, and Racer. And let's see what you get. Torch is going to kind of sit this one out for a minute. Okay. 5. Yeah, 5. Okay. So it's going to be Mover, Racer, Leia, and then 24/7, and then Torch if he wants to jump in. Okay, so Mover, got anything you want to say to her, or notice, or look around this place?
So looking at the armor, the first thing I kind of see is its use, and then it's been used, and then I kind of like lazily look back at her and I say, "Is this yours? Were you in this when it saw this?"
She said, "Yeah, I wouldn't get too close to it. It's probably still got some spare rads on it. I was wearing it when I went into the towers after the nuke."
You were in the towers when the nuke went off.
Well, I was in there after. I was, I guess you'd call me a rescue paramedic at that time. I'd been just a regular firefighter before, but I'd upgraded about a year ago to the new position. So when the nuke went off, yeah, I was one of the first responders, and I was in looking for people. Didn't find much.
I've only heard stories. What was it like?
When that sort of thing happens, you don't really stop to think about it and experience it. You just go, oh man, what a mess. And you just start looking for bodies. Luckily, I, could pick up a lot of pieces. I found more stuff in the nearby buildings than the Arasaka Tower. It just broke in 4 pieces and fell over, basically. But it's kind of a hard job, and I finally had to get out of it. It just started getting to me.
Mover just kind of shakes his head and looks back at the armor and just kind of unbelievable. First time he'd ever met anyone who was actually there.
Yeah, you figure at this point she was probably in her early 20s when this happened. So, she's late 30s, early 40s now. And she looks really, as much as you can get from a metal person with glowing eyes, she looks really kind of tired for a moment. And she says, "Sit down." And she plonks down on the overstuffed sofa. There's enough seats for everybody to plonk down next as well. Who was next in our lineup? Lalaya, you're standing there looking at Johnny Silverhand's actual car.
I can't believe that. I just
Yeah.
sort of like.
You know that it's not the only one. Johnny loved Porsches, so Johnny has had a series of them. As a dumb side thing, I'll tell you guys, this is one of the latest or last of them. The first one was a Porsche that he encountered when he first hit Night City, and he ended up meeting the guy who owned it, who took the parking space from Johnny, and so Johnny shot out his tires and said, if you like the parking space that much, I guess you should keep it. But a couple of years later, he had enough money to buy that Porsche from the guy.
Man.
He had someone steal it, then he bought it.
Hero.
So,
this
that's
is
John.
incredible. I touch it reverently, and I like looking at it. I was like, oh, that was the 2018 concert. Oh my God, that was mind blowing. I was outside the stadium. Oh wow.
You even see one of Johnny's guitars is actually the black and red and white one is actually hanging in a glass case, a locked glass case, up on one of the walls.
It's like press my nose up against the glass.
Okay, so you're pressing your nose up against the glass.
But I turned to her and I said, hey, so you're a fan too, huh? I mean, like your collection's better.
She looks kind of like, if you could look embarrassed as a 7 foot tall cyborg woman, she looks a little embarrassed, and she says, yeah, actually, I knew him. It's a really silly story. I rescued him from one of his studio fire a bunch of years before everything kind of got weird and big. He's a really nice guy.
And like,
you want some coffee? You want some coffee?
Coffee sounds great. But
okay,
the
she
song,
goes over and starts drinking
the song. She asks about Lila asks about the song and like takes the
and
coffee.
She says, "Oh yeah. Let's get to that in a minute. Who's next?"
And she keeps peppering her with questions.
Yeah, and what you find out is, she's a real fiend for Johnny. She met him. She didn't know him really well, but they kept bumping into each other, and she got to fangirl a lot. Racer, your combi is parked outside, but Samantha tells you, don't worry about it. There's enough stuff there to stop Adam Smasher from breaking in here. So it's okay. Your combi's good.
So I just cannot stop staring at this Porsche. I have honestly never seen a Porsche. I've only, heard stories about them.
Old school. This is probably 80s, 90s of, in the timeline. So this is a classic. And it's immaculate.
Do you mind if I pop the hood?
She says, yeah, you're a nomad. You won't mess it up. And
I swear.
You pop, if you, I don't know how much you actually know, but you're going to find the engine in the back. So you're popping back and looking at the engine, a whole bit like that. Mm-hmm. And it looks really good. It looks like it was used. That, he drove it, but that Samantha's kept it immaculate this whole time.
Did you find this in the hot zone?
No, but after he disappeared, there was a while there where nobody was sure where he was, and somebody stole it, and I managed to take it back. There was when he disappeared, there was a lot of people kind of looting his stuff, and I made sure that the most important things I was able to bring back here so they'd be safe. I was doing it for a friend. Well, I don't know if we were really friends. I guess we were friends.
I say you're friends. You have his car. You're his friend.
I think he'd be okay with that. Okay, who's next?
I'm gonna discreetly. I'm discreetly clicking on an audio recorder that I keep inside my jacket, hopefully unnoticed, as I smile at Samantha and attempt to persuade them that they might talk to me a little bit more about the buildings next to the tower. You said you were in the surrounding buildings after the explosion, and you seem to be a collector. Is there any chance you brought anything back from those buildings and you've kept them here in your beautiful home?
She says, no, not really. I was pretty busy. You don't collect souvenirs in the middle of a disaster, particularly since a lot of them are body parts.
I guess it depends.
Perception check.
All right.
Your base is 13, so you're going to roll 1d10 24/7. 24/7, rolling 1d10. Let's see what you got.
By the way, 24/7, your cloaking device seems to be malfunctioning.
Got a 6.
Yeah, 19.
Okay, 19. She's being evasive about something. So you know she did something, or something went down there. You're not sure what. Okay, so let's see. Everybody's had a chance to kind of check things out, and she sits down, and she says, "So I got your message, and I've got actually more of that recording, but it's only half because the back half was kind of garbled. And you see, you see basically she kind of, again, seems a little evasive about it. And your tech basically kind of nods, and he says, radioactivity, right? And she says, yeah, how'd you know? And he says, yeah, that happens a lot, actually. Did you have it in your pocket when you went in there? And she's going, I don't really have pockets because the clothes burn off in the middle of big fire. And Torch goes, yeah, I get that. Okay, cool. And she says, so, and she takes out a chip. It's a blue chip, and she sets it down on the table between you guys. And she says, there is one thing, though. I was hoping that you could do me a favor in turn. And this is how things work at Night City. People help each other, but it's not like, hey, I give you this for free. And she says, what would be really, really helpful, and since you, and she looks at Racer, you're a nomad, you probably, from the combi I saw outside, could really help. I need to get a package delivered to a town in New Mexico. There's a convoy, New Mexico, and there's a convoy leaving tomorrow morning. If you could just take this, they're headed through the Southwest and up to St. Louis. If you could take the package for me and deliver it to here, I would really appreciate that.
Do you have a name? Someone I should leave this with?
I'll give you an address. She also doesn't want to leave her name. It's the only problem it's kind of large, but I can help you move it.
How big?
She says, well, come on over here. And she walks over to the far side, and there is a large crate. It's about 8 feet long, about 3 feet wide, and about 3 feet high. It has roller skids on it, so it can be moved. And she has put handles on it as well, so you can see, you can actually lift it. And she says, I don't really have a vehicle that can do this. And she laughs and looks back at the Porsche and goes, it would be a really bad idea to try to carry that in a Porsche. And that's the only vehicle I have right now. Will you do that for me?
Is there anything explosive inside?
She says, No. There's some mementos, and she looks over at the framed pictures and things like that. Says, "There's another friend of mine, and she's also kind of a collector."
All right. Hey, Mover.
So
Will you help me take this out?
Mover kind of looks down at it and raises an eyebrow and looks back at her and says, "This is about the size of a person."
She says, "Well, I have to confess, it was a coffin when I first got it. I didn't have much of a choice, and I needed to stash some stuff. So, yeah, there's nobody in there, but it's just got a bunch of stuff. However, some of that stuff is very frangible, and it shouldn't be exposed to air. So I'd really appreciate it. In fact, no, let me reiterate, don't open this. There are things inside that will be severely damaged if you open it."
I kind of look back at Racer and say, "Your game. Your call."
Let's do it.
Okay.
All right.
So she hands the chip over, the blue chip, and she hands it over to Leia and basically says, "You may be able to, with Torch, figure out how to clean up the decryption. It's a bit messy right now." Do we have a pen somewhere? Wow.
Great.
Thanks.
Thank you. And, from one fangirl to another, you mind telling me the whole story here? Because this is kind of an important thing for me. This is a chance to get Johnny's music back out there, to get the rest of the fan group just riled up.
Oh, that'll get them riled up if we can figure out who it was. Okay. Johnny and I were friends. Not super close. Johnny didn't really get really super close to anybody, especially after he became famous. And so I was there when there was a recording being made of the song that you were playing. And so I've got a bit of it. But again, the recording got messed up. It may have been messed up during the explosion because a lot of things were EMP flashed all over the city.
Yeah.
And Johnny's old studio wasn't that far away from here. That's one reason why when people decided he wasn't coming back after 5 or 6 years, they started going through and trying to find his stuff and put it on auction and all that. And I thought I already had some of it, and I thought I would just put it aside, and maybe one day, we could do. And she starts to cry, but nothing comes out of the eyes because there's cyber optics. And she kind of pulls herself back up, and she goes, "Okay, any rate, so if you guys could take that out, I'll help you load it on your combi. And here," and she hands you a chip. And who would you say is probably the most leader of your bunch right now? Actually, it's you, Racer. Right now, you have the car of the combi.
Yeah.
She hands you another chip. It's another blue chip. This one you see is a cred stick in EB, Eurobucks. And it's pretty, decent amount of money to get you there. And she says, all you have to do is just take it on out there, and you'll be safe. You'll be with a convoy. I just can't do it myself.
All right.
So you have enough operating capital to go in.
All right, so I start loading it in with Mover.
Okay.
And this is also the closest that I've been to Mover, and I look you in the eye and I say, do we know each other? I feel like we might have met many, many years ago.
Mover just kind of glances at her and says, met a lot of people over the years, and I remember probably a handful of them. Maybe we did, maybe we didn't.
Okay.
Couldn't tell you.
So you are loading things in, and she picks up the back end of this. It's fairly heavy. You figure, 500 or 600 pounds. Maybe she has a dead dolphin in her or something. You don't know. And she helps you load it in, and about that point, you hear a commotion. And you look up, and at the upper end of the parking garage area, the level up from here, you see a whole lot of dark figures, ratty, torn clothes, many, many cyber optics. And one of them is swinging a chain that, oddly enough, you recognize because it has the lock and the chain that Torch had just gotten through. And he says, I know I locked that. And he's like, one of the gangers is swinging the chain. Okay. So, Racer, you're going first. What are you doing?
All right, I'm climbing up to the top of the wick, and I am loading the gun, and I'm just going to start mowing them all down.
Okay. So.
Fuck you!
Okay, then. Yeah. Okay, you don't have heavy weapons, so you've got a base of 7 right now, but you have 7 points of what's called luck as well. You can burn any and all of your luck during this game, and you can add that to a roll if you need to.
Okay.
So if you really need to, you can do that. Right now, you're opening up, you're going, my assumption is pretty close to full auto to raise holy hell.
Mm-hmm.
And, okay. Yeah, they're fairly close. I'd say I put them in a range of like 50 meters.
She's got a 20. She's got to be a 20.
She'd be a 20?
24/7 activates his cloaking
you have to
device
beat
and
a
slides
20.
off to the side.
Okay, so you have to beat a 20. I'm doing a little numbers behind here. So, roll 1d10. And you're going to need to spend some luck to help it.
Yeah.
Oh, not good. So you spray 50 cal shells all over the place. Bam, 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 bam. They scatter a little bit, and Samantha hurls the rest of the crate into the truck, into the van, and slams the door and says, "Go! I'll deal with the rest of them." And there you are. Next, what do you want to do?
Me still?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm gonna floor it and trying to run over as many as possible. My wick is armored, so it can really mess people up.
Okay, so you ram through them, and you are now at the top of the ramp, and you skid around. You check your agent, and you realize, yeah, there's a mustering point for the families that's about a mile or two away from here, near the harbor. So you kind of know where you need to go. Mm-hmm. And as you skid around out of the parking garage, you notice that the fence has been torn down, and the machine guns are going off over your head. And you see roaring towards you a weird amalgam of a old school bus, part of a tank, part of just a general armor vehicle called a punk knot. And it roars towards you, and it's like something out of Bad Road Warrior. All these guys are hanging onto it, and they're shooting, and they've got, they're better than crossbows, but, they're ready to eat. And they roar in after you, okay? Okay, you're hauling butt down the rugged road. I want you to make 2 rolls. Okay, we'll do the first one. Okay, roll 1d10. It's going to be a driving check. So your base is 17. So roll 1d10. Don't roll a 1. Please don't roll a 1. So Racer is going to roll.
You know it's bad when the.
Ow!
You did that on
Racer,
purpose.
roll another.
No!
Shit.
Roll another d10,
It
Racer.
immediately flips
Let's
on
find
top
how
of
bad it
itself.
is. Another d10. Come on, let's get it. Okay, it's not too bad. Okay, so you basically slam around a building, and for a moment, you almost drive into their parking garage. And the punk knot is getting closer now, and they're beginning to throw out grappling hooks to try to get to your combi. Any of you can climb up into the upper machine gun nest, as it were, and fire, take over that vehicle gun. You can also lean out of the windows and shoot at these guys. So that is an option. So where do you want to be in the middle of this? Oh, by the way, Mover,
Yes.
I almost forgot. When you were leaving, before all hell broke loose, she gave you a package. It's wrapped carefully and securely, and it reeks of cosmoline, which is gun preservative. And she says, "You look like a good guy. You can use this more than he can." And she hands you this package. Just saying.
Remembering her doing this, I immediately grabbed the package and began to
You're
unwrap
waving.
it.
I don't think
frantically.
you actually are live. Speaker, I don't think you're live.
There we go. Okay, sorry about that. So
Okay.
remembering that she did this, I grabbed the package and frantically began unwrapping it while
Okay.
trying to keep a head in the situation as it's going on around me here.
Okay, you rip open the package. It's still, it's basically a large silver, not revolver, large silver automatic. It looked kind of like a Desert Eagle, and it is still in there. There's basically a butt area plug-in point for you to basically plug into your targeting scope. It's a Malorian. You see the symbol pounded into, the base of the stocks. You have just gotten a land gun.
Taking a moment to appreciate what's in front of me, I immediately hook in my targeting, make sure that it's loaded, do a quick check to make sure it looks like it's usable, and get ready to do what I need to do to protect the other three.
You are jacking in. Okay, I'm 3. Okay, you guys are roaring. I need to get everybody who's going to be taking a weapon position, and tell me where you are.
Personally,
Okay.
I've just hooked the gun up, and I'm just at the closest window that gives me the best vantage point to
Okay.
see the oncoming attack here.
Okay, 24/7. Do you want to basically scout out ahead using your drone, or do you want to shoot?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna send this drone ahead of me, and I probably can't control can't tune into the drone and have my heavy pistol out. I'm not much of a shot anyway, so I'm gonna focus on trying to find us a clear path up and out of here and make sure there's not anything in our.
Okay.
It's immediately gonna blow us off the road.
Okay, what you see coming up is you're beginning to see shipping containers. The big ship containers that you see on the backs of enormous trucks, trains, and so forth. There's like an alleyway of them about 1,000 yards ahead. Okay, and there's lights at the far end. The punk knot is now firing at you guys. I will worry about what they do to you in a minute, but we got Mover, we got Racer. Racer, I want you to make another roll, D10 roll. Okay. Yeah, just a straight D10 roll. Okay. Racer, this time you do not wreck yourself. You go skidding in as around you bullets are banging off the back of your vehicle, and you're skidding in, and around you, you see nomads. It's a nomad campment. It's the convoy you're joining. And as you skid in, a bunch of nomads run out and start deploying defense weapons against the punk knot. You're home free so far.
Sweet.
And we're gonna, I think, take a break on this because this is a really good place. So we'll come back after a bit. And everybody out there, please stick around to watch the first installment of Let's Make a Game, where you'll have the chance to help design a game in real time through chat and polls. And then we'll be back to Cyberpunk RPG. Chat plays pen and paper. And we'll come back at 12:40 p.m. Pacific time. So stick around. Hey gang, welcome back. We're doing, boy, I'm just trying to think right now. Cyberpunk RPG, chat plays pen and paper will return. And we've returned. It's 12:40 and we're ready to get in more trouble. So hopefully we've kept you entertained, and we're gonna go pick up our story as our heroes skid, slide, and dodge heavy gunfire from the punk knot and roar into the nomad camp, hopefully to safety. So, we all ready to start again?
Oh yeah.
Glad to be
Always
back.
ready, baby.
Looks like everybody's up. Okay then. So, you have just skidded in. It's probably about 3 a.m. Let me describe to you what you're in. Okay, and maybe we can get some artwork to show it up. You are in a large area that is entirely encompassed by shipping containers. You know, the 14-foot, 6-foot, 6-foot boxes that you see on the backs of trains, on the backs of trucks, on the back of big ships, shipping containers. Okay, in this world, shipping containers get used an awful lot for everything because they're easy to move, you can put a lot of cargo in them, and they're generally bulletproof. So you're now pulled into an area that has literally shipping containers on all sides, reaching up, not quite to the sky, but at least 5 or 6 stories worth. Some of them are pure shipping containers, some of them are offices, some of them are life spots, some of them are community hangouts. There might even be something equivalent to a restaurant or two down there in the containers, and there are a lot of vehicles. The vehicles are a really interesting mix. There's combis like your combi, for example, Racer. Yes, that's perfect. So you can see how they've kind of towered the whole thing together, and there are vehicles everywhere. There are old vehicles, new, there are slick, cool vehicles. Nomad vehicles may look like hell, but they run, because where you are out there, you can't afford to have your vehicle, whatever it is, fall out on the wayside. You could be very dead very soon. There is a screaming howl of jet engines and an AV-4, which is essentially assault vehicle. The way I think of an AV-4 is if you took a large van and slapped a jet engine underneath it and made it air capable, but it had all the flying capability of a brick if you turned off the engine. And basically, AVs are kind of like the workhorse flying car vehicle of the dark future. And one of them is just lifted off and is basically travel over top of you and is now strafing the punk knot. And you don't mess with nomads when they're in a pack. You don't mess with them when they're together. Their family is family, and family is really important. Okay? So, you roll in. There's a guy walks up towards your combi. He's probably about 60 or so, iron gray hair, and kind of a battered think it once was a cowboy hat. He has an incredibly cool handlebar mustache because guys like that should. And he says in a voice that sounds kind of like Optimus Prime, "Little lady, you picked a really late moment to show up for the convoy." And he walks around and says, "You got a cargo?"
Always do.
"Fair enough. Well, I think we'll put you in slot number 52. That's about midway through in the back. You should be pretty safe and have a good time. And remember, we stop at about 6 o'clock. Throw it in a circle. Get out some food. Do a little yarning, drinking. And of course, as usual, you're invited." So, another thing to throw out to you guys. The Combi is a small nomad vehicle. Then there are the really big ones, okay? There are some that look almost like they're freight trains on multiple wheels, like, 10 wheels per platform sort of thing. And many of them are combinations of the vehicle and also the various cargo mods that they're rolling on. These things are huge, and they're armed like small battleships. Some of them literally have weapons that have been taken off of real ships. So you are now safe, theoretically. Let's see. What do you guys want to do? I'm just going to go around the table as though we're going on a table. And let's see. Vallejo, you're here. And you kind of climb out of the combi and look around. And you notice over in one corner, a couple teenage girls grab each other's shoulders and they kind of, "It's her. I've got her tapes. I've got her digitals. All right." So you have some fans in here as well. And let's see, are they too scared to go up and approach you or not? I'm going to actually find out myself. Oh yeah, they're going to come up and they actually want to get your autograph. And they thought it was really, really great, particularly that last party you televised where, that corporate guy was giving you stuff and you threw up on his feet. That was really, really awesome. And you're thinking, I don't even remember that. I guess I did. It was on tape. An important thing about fans, you are not super high level yet, but the whole trick about basically being a rocker boy is you have a thing called impact, okay? Charismatic impact. And what it allows you to do is to get people to do stuff or pay attention to you. It's fame, okay? And it has all the useful things. I liked, as an example, there was a role that recently Keanu Reeves played when he wasn't Johnny Silverhand, where he played Keanu Reeves, and he walked in and he was the boyfriend of one of the protags.
Always call me baby.
Yes,
my baby. So good. Always be baby.
And it was great because everybody kind of went, "Oh my God, it's him," And so if he had said at that point, "I'm being pursued by, people who want to kill me," there would have been at least 2 or 3 fans who went, "Well, what can we do for you?" That is what charismatic impact can do under the right circumstances. As you get bigger and badder, you may be able to do things like, motivate entire crowds. Johnny, for example, could get 1,000 or so people to go rush the Arasaka building and kick down the doors just because. But you're not there yet. You're not Johnny. So remember that. If you need to find things out from people, if you need to get them to do small favors, even though you're not a nomad, you've been accepted and you have fans. At least, part of the younger set knows you. They have your music. And so you have the ability to use charismatic impact on them. So, huh? And you make new fans too. The cabbages reminded me. Okay. So, Mover, you have a gun. Okay, and you plugged it in. Okay, you've had jacked-in weapons before, but this one is really weird. It is almost like it has a will of its own. And when you use it, you have a greater awareness of things like when it needs reloads, when it targets almost for itself. You feel your entire, whatever fears you have, whatever emotions you have are damped down. And you realize that what you have is essentially a gun that has been altered to make you more of a killing machine. Now, Malorian liked to experiment with, the Malorian guns were all experimental, So you kind of think this might be something he was messing with, like, a better cyber interface or something. But it's a little scary because it feels like this is a gun that wants to get out and kill things. It gets rid of your inhibitions, and it's doing something when you're interfaced to it. It's not like it's, a magic weapon that takes you over or something like that. It's more that it has been tuned so that it damps down adrenal responses. So instead of going, oh, I gotta shoot, it's like target, bam, target, bam, target, bam. And as it does that, it also has a feedback loop, and the feedback loop makes you feel happy when something goes down. You shoot somebody, you know that you're going to get this little dwarf plug going into you. Like, hey, that was great. I just blew his head off. One shot, one kill, bam, ooh, cool. So, you have a gun. It's an awesome gun. It's a scary gun. Anything you want to say about that
is a little
scary gun?
I'd say probably at this point, make sure it's workable, make sure it works. But
Flawless.
at this point, I'm probably looking at this gun and my old guns and kind of going, this is my weekend warrior. This is my special occasion. This is something I need to break out when it's needed. And maybe it's the kind of thing where I'm going to keep slung over my back for most of the time. Always at the ready, but maybe not for every fight.
It's also a big gun. It's a solid, like I said, you're dealing with something on the level of a Desert Eagle. So it's a big, heavy, it's got barrel compensators, so it doesn't ride very high. This gun was made to do the job. Yeah, it throws the same damage that the cabbage just reminded me as an assault rifle. So yeah, it throws 50 cal type stuff. Good.
I think I'm good to hang on to it.
It's a little scary. Yeah. Okay.
It's a little scary. Scary, but I think I'm good to hang on to it. Probably gonna keep my other guns too. But I always think that's too valuable to just kind of let the fear override it, kind of thing.
Okay. 24. Okay, so you're now in a group. It's early morning. They're starting to basically demob the kitchen areas, which are really big cargo modules. There are about 5 of them that turn into kitchens. Basically, they roll up the sides, and they, it's like McDonald's or college food sort of thing. And they're starting to put stuff around. And you see a guy of, you figure, late 40s or so, roughly sort of maybe Hispanic, maybe Indian a little bit, you're not sure. And you recognize him. You were once introduced to him a long time ago by Trace Santiago when you were with the Aldo group. And you remember him vaguely as one of the people that the Aldecaldos used to use in a group called Los Lobos, the Wolves. And the Wolves were part of the assault on the towers. And that's kind of a known thing around the Nomads. So you know where he is. He kind of, sees you and kind of nods. He remembers, obviously. So, you might want to catch up to him and talk to him a little bit. Okay, a little bit of that.
Yeah, I'm going to go strike up a conversation with this guy.
Oh, yes, they got perfect. The buildings and the trucks are perfect. I have to say, by the way, a lot of times when I look at some of the things from CD, I go, yep, took it right out of my head. It's terrifyingly right. So you were saying, sorry.
So excuse me. I'm gonna go up and just walk right up to him slow, make sure he can see my hands and that no funny business is going on. I give him a smile and introduce myself. Of course, I'm 24/7 with Primary Source, but you already know that. You seem familiar. I believe we've met before, perhaps an acquaintance of
yes,
Santiago.
I remember you. Yes, young Santiago. He introduced us once. And I seem to remember we drank way, way too much tequila that night. How is Thrace doing?
As far as I can tell, he's been doing well, all things considered.
Good. His father will be proud of him. So
his father is proud of him.
He sits down. He's got a tray and a metal tray, and he gestures and says, "Go, get yourself something to eat. Come on back. We can talk."
I appreciate it. I go and I fill up my plate with, enough to be polite, but not enough to make a mess.
Sausage, rashers of pseudo bacon. You actually are surprised to find there's actually some real meat there, because these guys are able to find herds and things. It's kind of a weird meat you think might be buffalo. You're not sure. It's like beef, only more so. And you grab a plate, plonk down, and he says, "So what brings you with us?"
Well, I've made a good acquaintance with some of your nomad kind, racer, sort of driver, and we're here with I speak in confidence between the two of us, but we're making a bit of a delivery. I'm curious, has it been some time since you were in contact with the Lobos and their head of network?
He stops, he scratches his beard and says, "We don't speak much of the Los Lobos now, much. Their time is mostly past. Some are dead, some have retired. Many are teachers of the young men and tell them how to fight instead of pretend fight as they see on the screens and the brain dances. You seem like you have questions. I must admit, Trace did send me a note saying that you might be talking to us if you traveled out this way."
I don't know if you remember, it's, a lot of details have been passed around in the meantime, and of course, a lot of excuses have been made up to cover a lot of facts, so perhaps it's been lost. But do you remember anything about the day the tower fell and where the Lobos were planning to attack from? I know that the buildings surrounding the tower were not nearly as destroyed as the epicenter, and I'm interested if you know anyone survived the blast.
Oh, well, we went in. And
sorry, my cloaking device is acting up again. Let me turn this thing off. Hold on.
I noticed you're disappearing there. Are you having the problems with the background too?
Things are going great here. Everything's fine here now, sir. How are you?
You're flicking in and out. I cannot understand it. Okay. I will tell you the story. You can take it as you see. We dropped out of the AV. We were on the top floor. Shaitan, he was a really large, full body, and he was leading. He covered the entry. There was this one very small woman, Spider Murphy. She hacked the defenses. And we went in. We decided that the only way for us to deal with this was to take them out, to go down through the guards and get to the bunker where Kei Arasaka had his stronghold. And such a bunker it was. The walls were 4 feet thick. They could stand anything. And getting down there, that was a very difficult thing. So we went there hoping against hope, because, you know, when you're young, Chumba, you think you're immortal and you can do immortal things. So there was also another one who came with us in a second AV, the Morgan Blackhand. And he brought along some of his own people. He brought along some packages. And when we hit the rooftop, he separated and used shape charges to cut his own way. So we fought. And we were 3/4 of the way down when they jumped us. They got the reporter guy in the first attack, and we were pinned down. My brother died that day. And then that big Bastardo, the Smasher, he came in. And he came in roaring like El Tormento. He would have killed all of us, but then Silverhand stands up. He takes out that big gun. He starts shooting. I don't know why. He knew he would die. And yet he bought us time so that Shaitan could get a hold of Adam. And they could fight. And we broke in to do what we had to do. But we knew we could not succeed in our mission. So we left Silverhand's body behind. We left my brother Antonio behind. We had to go. We were pulling away. Adam Smasher was pursuing. Shaitan was defeated and dying, I believe. And then the sky lit up and the buildings fell. And the cloud rose over the city. The buildings fell like stacks of dominoes, like cards, everywhere. We could not go back. To this day, I too would wonder what happened. Was Morgan responsible for the bomb? Was Shaitan responsible for the bomb? Was Arasaka responsible? Perhaps.
You think Arasaka could have destroyed his own tower?
He was a proud man, from what I hear. I hear that he did not like to lose. He may have chosen to die as a samurai, as I hear they do. We don't follow those rules, but he possibly did. If you ever find out in your searches, if you and Trace uncover what went down, I would find it a favor to me if you would pass the tale to me so that I have a truth.
I appreciate you sharing this with me, friend. And I slip him a chip with my comms on it. It's a direct link to me, should he have any more information he'd like to share.
Okay. And he finishes breakfast. He tips his hat, and he heads off to one of the really, really large family vehicles. And basically the road haulers, like I said, those are those enormous vehicles. He goes in, pulls himself into one of the control areas, and he sends you a short salute. Racer.
Yeah.
Huh?
So first things first, gotta check on my little bearded lizard. Gotta
Okay,
make sure Z's okay.
Okay. Your bearded lizard is doing well, and the guy who greeted you, the lady, so where are you headed? And you flip open your agent to the coordinates and show it to him. He looks at it and he says, no one has gone there in a long time. I think you're going to a ghost town. You know what this is, don't you?
Tell me more.
It's a place called Los Alamos, my friend. It's a place off the highway. Many years ago, they built bombs there. You sure you?
Do you know who's there now?
No one's there now. It's been deserted. Word is that it's under the curse, what's called the broken wheel. The broken wheel, you know what that is. The broken wheel is the symbol of an atomic trefoil, and it's been passed down through generations of nomads. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And you know when you see it that nomads avoid that. They do not deal with the broken wheel. Meanwhile, okay, we're going to have a 2-minute break, and then we're going to go turn the cycle over, and you're going to find one more interesting piece of information. But first, let's take a 3-minute break in here, and let's go. We'll be back in 3 minutes. Hey gang, this is Mike Pondsmith, and I'm here to welcome you back to Cyberpunk RPG, Chat Plays Pen and Paper. So, as we last left things, our redoubtable crew had managed to fight their way past all the boosters, and were now hanging out in the Nomad camp, and they were about to leave outside the city to the real wild Cyber West. So, while they're all wandering around talking to everybody, there's one person who's been sitting in a combi for a while, and he's been looking at it. And remember, he kind of likes to mess with stuff. So Torch is thinking about this, and finally he has a decision. Is he going to try to open the crate, get past all the security, because he could probably do it, or is he going to leave it alone? So this is going to be for you guys. Time to vote. Do you, as Torch, want to mess with the crate, or are you going to be smart and not mess with the crate?
Don't mess with it, Torch. Whatever you do, leave it alone.
I am a little curious.
Torch, let's go find out, because, well, it's about to be Leroy Jenkins time.
Leroy
Jenkins. Yeah, Leroy Torch.
While Torch is contemplating that, Lileia is going around shaking hands with fans, taking little vids, making nice, and kind of finding out just who's doing what in the camps.
Yeah, and actually after a while you discover that the leader of this particular convoy, the Roadmaster, is a secret fan. And he kind of comes up saying, "Ma'am, I'd hate to bother you, but I was wondering if you wouldn't mind signing this." And he takes out a chip and a battered picture of you. Said, "I saw your show. I was mighty impressed." And
it's a real honor. So glad to have you here. So glad to be here with you. Maybe I can play a show or something while we're on the road together.
I'd like that. And perhaps I can arrange to talk to the rest of the people, set you up a little stage or something.
I'd love that.
And in the meantime, in the back of the combi at 79
Torch!
Of course.
Torch is getting out his tools and he's looking at.
Here we go.
And Torch, this isn't a really hard one. He's got to make an electronic security roll. Okay.
Got a base 12.
Okay, so he has a base 12. So Torch rolling 1d10. Okay, and it's a professional task. There we go.
I'm really curious. I want to see what's inside this.
So he
Not
doesn't.
gonna do it.
So he's going. Okay, this is going to be harder than I thought. He then goes over and he starts working on the physical locks around it. Okay, that's going to be basic tech work 18. So once again, Torch rolls 1d10. Don't roll a 1, Torch.
Oh, God.
Ah!
Can't say that kind of thing.
I know.
Dice over
Yeah.
there.
Stop saying that.
Okay, so Torch flips over the locks. He actually opens it. Roll one more d10. See how bad this is.
Oh, God. Swear to
Okay.
God, Chad, if you won this again. Okay.
Okay. Torch goes, oh crap. He's flipped open it and he's realized that he hasn't beaten this electronic security. And he looks at the thing in the crate and he sees numbers counting down rapidly on a big basically LED type counter. Sort of like out of a bad movie, you know? So, Torch, you're going to try to do an electronic security roll again.
He's got 7 luck.
Torch,
Out of curiosity,
first of all,
Mike, are we talking
people, do you want to blow at least 5 points of Torch's luck in this, or save my luck till later? Okay.
Say yes.
Torch uses
Yes.
luck. Torch doesn't use luck. It's up to you, chat. Let's see what you got.
Use that luck. You're gonna blow us all to smithereens.
That's going to get us killed. So, Mike, with this timer, are we talking like 30 seconds or like an hour?
You
does
don't
it have
know.
any
You're
indication?
not there.
Oh, God. Okay.
But you're going to be there in about a minute because it's dawn and everyone's eaten. And so the caravan is going to be moving out. So you guys are going back to the combi right now. And in the back, the crate is open and Torch is going, man. And he's getting out all of his tools and his multimeters and everything like that. So oh, Lordy. So we are going to make another electronic security, but first we'll find out, will he use luck? Or does he think he's so bad he can get away with it? Okay. Yeah, these guys are trying to work it out. And okay, he's using that luck. Okay, so crank him 5 points of luck. Okay, so 17 base. So, Torch, roll 1d10 and hope, Bog, you do not roll another one.
Don't say
Torch, roll 1d10.
Mike, stop saying
Thank goodness. Okay, fine. So, yes, Torch. The timer stops after it's gone about 3 minutes. You slam the top closed And as everyone's coming in, you slump back against it and you wipe your sweating face. And about that point, Racer says, "It's time to go."
It's time to go. Why do you look so suspicious?
Yeah, you're sweating a lot.
Yeah, Torch. I had a bad dream. That's all. It's a bad dream. A really bad dream.
All right, so I jump up in the driver's seat, lock on my seatbelt. Get in, suckers.
Okay, and with that, the caravan kicks into gear. The convoy is going. You are about middle towards the back. You're next to a really big road hauler, and there's several combis like yours around as well. Way overhead, you see the AVs. The party has two, and the AV4s rocket out towards the horizon. They're the scouts. And there's some motorcycles as well. They are also scouts, so they're roaring ahead. You roar out of Night City, past the wreckage of the old bridge. You bump into wreckage of vehicles that were abandoned as people fled the city. You climb up out of the ridge, and you are now moving at a fairly good clip, dust clouds rising around you, and the thunder of engines all over the place. Because in this world, it's not electric, it's choo-choo. So you're roaring out into the night, or rather into the day. It's starting to get warm. You see in the distance the brown Sierra Hills of the Central California valleys. You're headed past the area where they used to have the checkpoint gates, and you're going to be going due south. Okay, so you're moving along, having a really good time. Okay, I think I'll just start on the table. Okay, Lileia, what do you want to do?
All right. I mean, it seems like we're rolling along. Things are going pretty well. I kind of want to, just check in on my agent and look at the data stream and just see what's going on. Anything interesting? Anything of note? Any inspiration for songs, maybe?
Okay. You are flipping through, and there is a obituary flag for a Samantha Stevens, late of the Night City fire and rescue. Miss Stevens was found near her home, and they give the address of the parking garage, and it appears that she was in the middle of a major gang fight later that night. And you're thinking, if something got her, it's pretty bad.
Hey, Jumbos. Samantha's dead. Looks like the gang's got her.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, Mover. Mover?
Yeah.
You're pretty sure whatever that gang was packing couldn't get through her armor. This sounds like it's bigger than just a gang to you. What do you want to say? Do whatever.
So I kind of look around at the group and say, from my experience, there's no way what we left her with could have gotten her. And then I kind of look back over at the package and kind of say, I wonder what we really have in here.
Combat sensed.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
I'm starting to think that maybe it's not just a bunch of memorabilia.
Yeah, you're looking at a tactical roll, and so Mover, need to have you roll 1d10. You'll pick up, based on your knowledge, as a solo you have combat sense, but it can be broken into many areas. You're looking at the tactical side right now, and so you're putting your brain to that. So you rolled a 9, and he got 11, so 20. Mover, you couldn't have gotten through her short of a full-on anti-tank weapon. which no gang is going to have. This is pro work. Somebody pro took her out. Just thinking, just saying it. 24, you notice that Mover is scratching his bristly chin and kind of looking like, okay. What are you doing?
Well, first I got to check in with Mover. You share this information with me?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, as soon as I kind of come to the conclusion that this has happened, I let everyone know kind of there's absolutely no way that gang could have taken her out. It doesn't line up, and it would have taken nothing short of a tank round to even get through to her, let alone take her down.
Somebody big firepower.
It sounds like we're being pursued by something more dangerous than we've crossed before. I start checking all the power supply, the backup battery on all of my gear. I want to make sure that I've got enough hard drive space, as it were, and I make an update with my producers and let them know my general direction of travel and my current GPS whereabouts, so that if I need to call anybody else back in for backup, we might have a shot of somebody showing up in time.
Okay. Sounds good. So you are getting your team and stuff together. Tell me about your cameras and things like that. Do you have anything with actual film, holographics, anything like that?
I do have I got the ability to record. I can take up to 24 hours of audio, 12 hours of audio and video together, and I guess we'd be about 4 hours of holographic projection. But I lost most of my good gear in a firefight like a week ago, so I'm working with scraps at this point.
Bad. Okay. So yeah, you realize that as you're walking back, kind of contacting people in a combi, which is fairly large, that you're occasionally getting kind of a minor fuzz, like an interference. So your eyes kind of literally go television static. Okay.
Oh.
You're
Is
blinking.
anybody else picking up unusual readings with their gear? I mean, I feel like somebody might be trying to scramble our broadcast ability. Is it possible to do a check for any kind of transmission waves coming through our vehicle or through the caravan?
Let's see. You could contact the caravan racer and see if they're getting anything. 24/7, you got the best other gear, and for some reason you've noticed that over, next to the crate, that Torch is just sitting there and he's kind of staring straight ahead and he's going, whoa.
Torch buddy, you wanna talk a little bit? Did you ever crack that thing open all the way, or anything you're not sharing with the group?
By now you're about 25 miles down the road and you're still barreling down. And it's looking, like things are moving. There's about 30 vehicles, a couple of them really big road haulers, some combis, some outriggers. And Torch looks around and he says, don't tell Racer, but we have kind of a problem with the cargo.
What kind of problem?
Torch, you want to clarify, buddy? We're kind of all in this thing together.
Problem? I'm hearing something about a problem.
Racer, we got a problem back here.
What?
And he says, okay, he pushes back the lid of the crate, which you realize he's undone all of the locks and things. And, the memorabilia and all that, it's not memorabilia. One, your eyes, cyber eyes, kind of static for a minute. And you see inside the crate is a long metal orange painted cylinder. The cylinder is orange. It's about a little taller than a man, so it fits quite snugly into the crate. It's a bit thicker than a man. And so it fits, the crate just is wrapped around it. It's got padding and stuff. It has a lot of various symbols on it, mostly in Japanese, angry Japanese. And the biggest thing it has in the middle is the sign of the broken wheel.
Oh.
Trefoil. In the middle of it, set into it with a couple of obviously jammed in tools from Torch's set, is a large countdown timer that has already put 3 minutes on the clock. You are traveling down the road with the hydrogen bomb.
Holy.
What?
I'm pretty sure that this is
Keep your eyes on the road, Racer. Just keep your eyes on the road. Do not crash. It's very important.
I
Is the
never
timer
crashed.
ticking down? Is the timer like actually ticking down at the moment?
Okay, great. He basically stopped it before it got, it doesn't seem to be a countdown, it seems to be actually a count up. And he stopped it before it went off. So yeah.
Oh!
I figure if you pulled out one of those probes and one of his tools he jammed in there and his Swiss Army knife, it will probably start counting down again.
Yeah, let's not touch it.
He says,
Should I pull over? Do I need to pull over right now? Is this situation? Do I need to pull over?
okay, Racer, you know something. You are a nomad, born and raised, and you know the rule of the broken wheel. Okay? The broken wheel, i.e. the atomic trefoil, it's one of those things that was worked out many, many years ago so that people who, after, the fall of humanity or whatever, if they found an atomic bomb or they found, radioactive site, they would recognize that symbol and they would know this is bad. Do not go into this bunker. Do not eat this food. Do not, whatever. The rule of the broken wheel is that you're not supposed to deal with a broken wheel. You leave the broken wheel behind, but you're also pretty sure if you were to drop this thing right now, all those probes would fall out and you'd have a hydrogen bomb going off and probably would detonate and wipe out the entire group and probably about 5 miles of territory.
Does anyone know how to deal with bombs? I don't know anything about bombs. Does anybody know how to deal with bombs?
I don't know.
Well,
Truth bombs.
That
Mover,
doesn't count.
Mover, this is beyond, you know grenades, Mover.
Yeah, I know. I'm sitting here looking at my sheet like anything about hydrogen bombs.
Oh my God.
I like it.
Okay.
Where were we supposed to deliver this thing?
Okay. 24/7. You don't have necessarily Japanese as your languages, but you know enough to kind of get by on the street. So you
I can
realize
tell
that-
this is angry Japanese.
Yes, this is warnings in angry Japanese, like do not drop. This is a bomb, stupid. Baka bomb, whatever. So this kind of gives you a hint about something. I want you to, you think perception?
13.
Yeah, 13. You have 13 perception. So roll 1d10.
Yes, sir.
24. He's hiding. Oh no. You have no idea what Japanese is.
We're being
And-
hacked.
It's bothering you, but you're not sure what it is. Roll again. Let's find out how bad it is.
Guys, I might just have to teleport out of here.
Oh!
And bad.
Oh. Yeah.
Hopefully it's just the language.
I love you guys.
You think it's something about a power plant, or
This-
maybe a power Or maybe it's not a bomb?
Maybe it's not a bomb, you guys. This could be a snack.
Yeah, really big. Yeah, it's a refrigerator, guys. And there's cold beer in it. Okay. You're barreling down the road with a nuclear bomb in the back. Racer, you kind of know if you tell anybody right now, they will probably dump you out of the convoy and you're on your own. So you're kind of going, do I tell anybody or not? Do I contact the trail master or do I tough this out? We'll be in Los Alamos probably in about 4 hours. So yeah.
I mean, my instinct is that, I put the clan first, so me continuing down this road without telling anybody is endangering the entire Nomad clan. So I feel like I either need to say something or pull off and we go out on our own. But I can't just sit on this.
Sit on a bomb. Yeah, probably not. Okay. I mean, Torch has already tried to sit on a bomb and he almost set it off.
Nah. All right. All right. I'm gonna slow up and I'm gonna try and pull off from this group because I don't want to tell them what's up, but I also don't want to continue to endanger them.
Okay, you're starting to pull off.
While she's turning off.
Okay.
While she's turning off, Mover kind of puts a hand on her shoulder, and he just kind of goes, "Is it safe here if we pull off and go solo? Can we actually survive this area?"
Probably not, because you see as you're pulling out of the main group, you see a large dust cloud way in the back on the road.
We've been
all
set
right.
up.
So
we were
hang on a second. Give me the comms.
Okay.
So I take the comms from Racer.
Okay.
And I put on in the back Johnny's Sins of Your Brothers album. And I radio. Thank you. And I radio the head of the convoy. I want to explain the situation.
What can I do for you, little lady? You guys have fallen behind.
I'm so sorry. I'm gonna level with you here. Our cargo is it's a bomb. We didn't know, but we gotta get it to Los Alamos to somebody who can help with it. And if you're willing to help us along for these 4 hours maintaining this precious cargo, then I'll play a concert for you guys. Anything, we will owe you so much.
Okay, so
And I'll pull
we are going to see
charismatic impact.
how your charismatic abilities work. And do you want to burn any luck? You have 7.
Yes, I do.
burn that
I
luck.
do. I'm gonna burn it all, baby.
Okay, so we need to have you roll. You have 7, right?
It is an 11 total.
Yeah.
That's 11 total now, and you're going to roll a d10 and not roll a 1, please. Please, don't do it.
Okay, all right.
Okay, so.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah, he looks like. Are you sure that's a bomb, ma'am, Missy?
I mean, actually, I look at 24 and I'm like, we're actually not positive, but we hear so much about the convoy that, we want to give you the heads up, just in case.
Says, that was spoken like a true member of the families. All right, we will give you an escort as far as it goes, but at Los Alamos, you're on your own.
We're much obliged to you, sir. Rock on.
Says, just for that, I'm going to have to bring another clip down so you can sign for my daughter.
I'll sign whatever you want me to.
Okay. Meanwhile, there is a cloud of dust rising in the back. You can, does anybody have spy glasses, anything like that? Anybody have a way to look
Yes,
back there?
binoculars.
I have binoculars.
Who's got binoculars?
I do.
Who? Oh, Racer. You're driving. You're not looking at binoculars. You can hand them over to 24/7. Alea, Mover, all are free. Torch is staring at the chip he had earlier and the box, and he's looking back and forth to the crate and the chip and the box, then the crate and the chip and the box. Meanwhile, 24/7, you have binoculars too.
Yeah, I got some 2x binoculars.
You also have a drone.
Yeah. Man, I'll send the drone in. Let's do it. I love a drone.
Okay. So your drone.
I got this thing as a gift. Let's try it.
Open up. It flies out of the side, and you're naviging it through your eyesight. And you see coming up behind, about 2 miles back, is a biker gang. Okay.
Oh, good.
And it's not your usual biker gang, a bunch of thugs, on a bike. These guys actually look really good looking. I mean, like a freaking boy band. Okay? And they're coming up behind you. Okay? And it's getting, you would look at it and think, that's the best looking biker gang I've ever seen. They've got really nice bikes, and they've also got heavy weapons on those really nice bikes. And then one of them shoots your drone down.
I got good news and I got bad news. We're being pursued. Biker gang. I guess the good news is that they're all incredibly handsome. Like across the board, really, really handsome.
Okay.
Yeah. You
well
wonder whether or not they're
dressed.
wearing makeup, whether, where they pick their clothes out, because they're stylish. And also they unfurl from their
Night City
bikes.
Nines or like.
Yeah, and they unfurl from their bikes tall black flags, kind of like the old samurai used to do, on their backs. These are the same kind of long Japanese flags. You realize this is basically a really good-looking, Bozozuko gang, okay? Basically one of the, high-end Japanese biker gangs, okay? And they're hauling after you.
So at this point, I guess Mover kind of goes, well, I guess we're going to get some pretty corpses then, and plugs in his new gun and starts heading to the top.
Okay, so since we're kind of running a little tight, I'm going to basically have you guys, who's shooting?
I'm going to be using the new gun on the roof.
Okay. Who wants to go take the turret?
I can go up to the turret if Lilia, you want the flamethrower.
Yeah.
All right, I'll climb up to the minigun.
Okay, so you're up at the minigun. Okay, they come barreling up and they are cutting through, and the Nomad group automatically goes, okay, we're being overhauled by somebody. So they started firing first the smaller nearby combis, and then, the road haulers. So there's gunfire exploding all around you, but you notice that these guys are zeroing in on you. And one of them, in fact, roars up really close to the window, the driver's window, to empty a load at you. So at this point, Mover can shoot, and 24/7 can shoot. 24/7 can shoot. He's got to clear on the turret. Actually, we have a piece of art, but I don't think it's there yet, which shows how good looking they really are. But
It makes all the difference.
You'll have to take our word for it. It's like Keanu Reeves.
yeah,
all of NSYNC together.
yeah, it's kind of like that. It's in the storyline. Somebody says, "Are those guys wearing makeup?" Yeah, but badly. Okay, so Mover, you lean over, you get 2 shots. 1 shot? Wait a minute. Oh, right, very heavy?
Yep.
Okay, you get 1 shot. You don't break your arm using the Malorian. Okay, so Mover, let's go find out what you do. Do you want to go after the guy just pulling up the racer, or do you want to shoot further down range?
I want to get the guy pulling up on Racer. Priority
Okay.
number one for Mover is going to be protecting this group. So the most
Okay,
immediate
let's-
threat
let's
is
use
going to be the first
Mikey.
target.
Switch to gang. Okay. Okay, go for it. You're going to roll 1d10.
Malorian gives a +2.
And you have a
17.
+2, so you have a 17 with the Malorian. And let's go find out what these guys do. You want to roll for them?
I
6.
can't dodge bullets, so they're just gonna take it.
Okay.
That's
Okay, bam. So they hit. You hit.
right. 56.
Okay. So you feel an icy chill kind of drop down over you, and you just start plugging. It's like you don't even think about, am I going to hit? You just know you're going to hit. So the gun bucks in your hand. Do you have a cyber arm?
I have a Cyber Eye, a Neuralink, Sand Division, and a targeting scope, but I don't think I have a Cyber Arm.
Okay.
Malorian does not technically require.
Your arm does throb a little bit as you fire. Okay. And let's see. Malorian does 5d6. So out there, we need to have you roll 5d6. So 5 6-sided dice. Let's see what you do. This is a big ass gun. Okay, is that a total of 12? Yep, I guess it is. Okay, so you do 12 points, and
With about half
Okay.
his hit points.
yeah, and let's see one more thing. Let's find out between you and I. Let's find out where that hits. You want to do?
Oh, it's
Okay, so you shoot him right in the chest, kind of shooting down. So his bike skids off the road because he's about halfway there. He doesn't get a chance to open up the racer. Okay, 24/7. You have.
I gotta cover the back of this vehicle. I gotta make sure we don't take any
Coming
fire
up
on
on
the.
They're kind of bunched. One of them is swinging what looks like some kind of grapple hook or something, but is attached to a large box that's on his back.
We gotta take that guy out.
Suppressive fire. Okay. So, suppressive fire. So, you're going to see if you can scatter them? Roll one.
Yeah, let's get. I gotta get him off the back of this vehicle.
Okay. Okay. See, if you have luck, you might want to use. You got a 9, but suppressive.
Yeah, let's spend that luck.
There we go.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to do it. Okay,
Burn that luck
so
like it's
they
a season
scatter.
finale.
You don't hit anybody, but they scatter with 50 caliber rounds slamming down around them, and they basically break off to the right and left. Okay.
Perfect.
Okay. So, Lylea, you open up the back of the combi, you point the nozzle, and you push the button. Okay. This is long range flamethrower. Yep.
Yeah.
You don't have heavy weapons.
Base 5, she can still. Now she spent.
You'd burned all your luck, so yes.
Yeah.
So make a roll.
Luckily, she's in good range. She
Yeah.
only needs to be a 15.
Wow.
Okay. You only need to beat a 13. Let's see what you can do. Roll 1d10. Roll really well. Oh, 4. Okay, a gout of flame shoots out of the back of the what? Yeah, shoots out of the back of the combi and spatters across the highway, and they break around the left side and are still kind of coming. Okay, so as we like to say, top of the hill, Daly City. Racer, you were trying to avoid these guys, so we're gonna have you make a driving check.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, so roll 1d10. Add 17 to that. Okay.
10, 17. Hit me.
Yeah. Roll 1d10. 6. Okay. You are dodging and you manage to move up towards the front of the convoy. And behind you, you see the main road haulers kind of close ranks. and guns start blazing out of every single aperture and opening up in there. Okay. So they basically tear them apart and they break off. So you're standing there and you have an atomic bomb. Actually, a hydrogen bomb. And you spend the next 3 hours biting your nails and making sure that Torch doesn't do anything until he stands up at some point and says, "I've got it. Those are the codes that detonated." Oh, crud. And you're like, "Torch, put it down." You know. You
Step away from the bomb.
No, Torch, no.
The convoy follows you all the way up till you reach the gates of Los Alamos Labs. It's a enormous complex of flat government buildings surrounded by a huge fence. They're all kind of sand colored. There's dust. There's tumbleweeds. Nobody's been here.
Am I supposed to be able to hear them?
And literally, you can just go right
It's
to.
so much feedback.
You're headed to building
Leave it?
14B,
Oh.
I believe. I have to actually check my notes. And the convoy is kind of keeping moving. So basically, yeah, PF4. You roll up to PF4, which is the instructions. You see a security camera looking at you. And after about a minute or two, a voice says from around the security camera, "Are you the ones that Samantha sent?" Echoing.
Yes.
"I'll be right down." And one of the roll-up doors in this immense building way down at the end opens up. And a woman comes out. She's very beautiful. She's wearing a coverall, sweat. Well, actually, it's kind of hot, so she's not wearing a sweatshirt. But she's got a big tool belt, and she walks up and says, "Hi, I'm Angel. Which one of you is
you are.
Leia?" She says, "Which one of you is Leia?"
That's me. Hey, sorry. Went totally somewhere else there for a
Okay.
second. Hey, nice to meet you.
Yeah. So you didn't open anything, did you? Torch
Well,
guilty. And
there might have been an accident along the way, and maybe.
okay. Well, she walks over and she flips it open and says, "Yeah, big accident here." "Well, looks like a bomb to me." Sam was right to get rid of this. Told her she couldn't disarm it. And she says, "But I can." "Gonna give me a hand dragging over the roll-up? Or do I have to do everything myself?"
Yeah, no. And Leia runs to kind of help her out and stuff.
She helps you guys. You basically lug this crate, and remember, it has little roller wheels on it with the bomb. And she stops, rolls it into the roll-up door, and says, "Okay, you guys probably don't want to be around here, just in case I've forgotten how to do this." And she reaches over and she says, "Oh, wait." And she pulls out a blue cash chip and she says, "You guys did a good job. Solid. I want to thank you too in Sam's name." She looks a little sad. And she hands you the chip. "It's enough to buy 3 combies." And you're looking at it and she says, Go buy you something." "Oh, wait a minute. That's right. Leia, you were looking for something." "Here,
Yeah.
I have full tape.
Oh my God.
He hands it to you. And he says, it's full recording, made from the original studio session.
Wow.
You know, Sammy isn't the only Johnny Silverhand fangirl out there, you know. And she rolls straight in, and the roll-up doors close. She's standing there. Your bomb is gone. And about that point, Torch says, and this is a remote detonator, and he holds it up. And he almost clicks it. Does Torch click the detonator? Audience, we're asking you, does Torch click the detonator? Yes or no?
No.
George, no!
Guys,
Give me the detonator, Torch.
dangerously.
Torch, give me that detonator. Don't you push that button.
Yeah, in slow motion, like all four of us are just like reaching to him, like diving at him.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Hope someone's filming this. Audience, wake up. Time to find out whether you blow the rest of the party to heck or not. Okay. In the meantime, everybody, have you picked out what you want to say for your last words? Besides, idiot.
I finally got my gun!
Yay! Boom. Yeah.
It's about the friends we made along the way.
Oh, God. Okay. Oh, I can't wait to see what this poll is, because I think it's going to be yes.
Oh
If I will be baffled if it's not yes. Okay, there we go.
Okay.
No.
Torch says, wait, I think it's okay. And he clicks the detonator. And there's a long silence. And you're thinking, building P4F is going to vanish. And the roll-up door comes up. And rather rapidly, Angel jogs over, slaps the detonator out of Torch's hands and says, give me that. God, are you crazy? That's a bomb. And she takes the detonator and walks away. Torch is sort of sitting on his butt with a big slap mark on his face. And she walks back into the building again. Idiot.
And the
All
four
right,
of
I
us
walk over to Torch.
get
I
back in the
slap
car
him across the
and
face.
without Torch, drive off into the sunset.
Okay. And as you're driving off into the sunset, Leia pulls out the chip and she plugs it into herself and she hears a song. Hang on a second.
Do some parts. So
Okay.
play the song.
The anticipation.
A little louder, I think.
Blind man lost in the streets. Pattern here I need to see. Keep returning, keep trying to leave. Got a bad feeling that I need to feel. Black dog road at my side. Down a road no
So you've just heard the world premiere of Samurai, i.e. Johnny, doing Black Dog. So it's first time, and now everybody gets to hear it. And I'm sort of assuming that CD will probably put it up on the site so everybody can listen to it a little louder. And if anybody wants to kind of tell them where they can meet the rest of our happy crew, Erica, Coco Carnage. So tell me where we can locate you so we can do this again.
So you can find me on Twitter at Erica Ishii, on Instagram at the Erica Ishii, and I'm so excited I got the clearance to say this today, that you can also hear me as Ruth Zhang and a couple of other characters in Cyberpunk 2077.
Yeah.
It was honestly a dream come true. I've been such a fan of this, and I remember when the trailer first came out, and I'm so thrilled to be a part of this world. Thank you.
Well, welcome to the world.
So much to be part of that.
Mover,
I love it.
i.e. Co-Carnage. What about you?
Sure.
How can we find you so we can do this again?
I am Co-Carnage. I stream pretty much every day at 8 a.m. doing Demon Souls and all sorts of stuff. Now you can also find me on Twitter and YouTube under the same name. I also have a cameo in Cyberpunk. I can't wait for you to meet him. Can't wait to meet him myself. And big thank you to Mike Pondsmith, all the phenomenal people on this show. It's been a huge amount of fun. You guys have been amazing.
Yeah,
and of course, thanks CDPR for putting all this together and helping out, and just awesome.
Okay, and Brian, tell us where to find you guys.
Thank you so much, Mike, for leading us today, and Erica and Co for playing with us. Amelia and I are streaming 5 times a week on Deckard Games, so come drop a follow and hang out with us. We are also happy to share that we're playing characters in Cyberpunk 2077, and we'll be streaming the game on Sundays after it's released. And everybody at CD Projekt Red, you guys are awesome, and we appreciate all the hard work you're putting into making this game. We are ready for it, and thank you, thank you, thank you.
Fantastic. Well, it's been great running a game with you guys. You are a hoot. And it's also a big shout out to all the people out there in the audience who chose to make Torch the craziest guy ever. So, if you need somebody to disarm a bomb, don't get Torch. Also, I want to an exciting announcement from CD Projekt Red coming up. So check it out, people. We had a great time.
They tried to kill us.
Yeah, it was a great time for these. Okay. Are we back on? Okay. Okay, talk to Let's Make a Game. Stay tuned for another update from the team behind Let's Make a Game, exclusively on the Glitchcon Twitch gaming channel. And thanks for watching. We'll see you next time in Night City.
Come